Spotlight on Florida is on the air, continuing our coverage of Memorial Day. And who better to talk to find out about Memorial Day traffic? Next to me, Mark Jenkins, AAA spokesperson. Mark, welcome to Spotlight on Florida for the Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
This is great. I'm so glad you could join us right before the weekend begins. And listen, I got to talk to you because it looks like everybody is ready to travel for Memorial Day weekend. What are you seeing?
We're seeing record numbers. We're looking at about 2.6 million Floridians that are expected to take a trip of 50 miles or more, which is about 95,000 more Florida travelers than last year. And then you take a look at national numbers, and they're even bigger. I mean, we're talking about 45.1 million people who are going to be traveling nationwide. And when you translate that out onto the roadways, we're looking at about 1.2 million more travelers out on the road. And a
Oh,
lot of these
man,
folks are coming to Orlando. We have a top
crazy.
10 list of destinations. Orlando, normally number one, and it is, of course, number one again this year, as well as Miami and Tampa. Tampa just outside the top 10 list, but Miami is definitely within the top 10.
Okay, Florida's represented well, huh? I mean,
Yeah.
we're record numbers. I guess everybody what just is ready to go, ready to travel, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the end of the school year. It's the kickoff to the summer travel season. So a lot of people are able and excited to go travel again to kick off the summer travel season. Like I mentioned, school is getting out, so families are finally able to kick off the summer travel season, taking a vacation. The numbers that we measure are based on the number of people who are traveling 50 miles or more. So this could be something as simple as a trip across the state to maybe a beach destination or something, or it could be something more like cross country. It's going to be a mixed bag, but I think that as we know, Memorial Day is a very busy time of year, and the fact that, like I said it a couple of times, beating that drum. School is now out, or at least will be out shortly, so people will be taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a bunch of people all around the state watching, and everybody, it's an important holiday to remember, those who lost their lives. And so it's an important holiday, but it's also a busy holiday for this industry, for tourism. And I guess people are just going all over the state of Florida, right?
Yeah, no, they definitely are, and you consider what's happening in Florida right now. It's a just kind of the mecca, right? The center of the travel universe to a certain degree because it has the theme parks, it has the beaches, it has the cruise ports, so it's a huge draw for travel and tourism nationwide, but globally as well. And then you sprinkle in the fact that Universal has a brand new theme park there.
Yeah.
So people who have already been there are now interested in coming back. So there's going to be a lot of attention focused on Orlando specifically this year as well.
How do you measure how many cars are on the road? Is that some sort of a measurement device?
Yeah, it's something that so we partner with an economics team that takes a look at a number of different things: employment levels, housing market, jobs, consumer sentiment, and then they put all of that into a formula and it spits it out. It's amazing. It's a miracle. I'm glad to not be the one. I'm not the mathematician behind it all. I
Yeah.
just get to stand here in front of it and try to make it all make sense. But I think that these forecasts are very interesting because they really represent what's happening in the economy, but just on a global scale in terms of consumer sentiment and things like that. So during the pandemic, 2020, people weren't traveling as much, and we saw a very strong dip. I don't have to tell people in the travel industry about that. But the numbers reflected that, and then since 2020, we've seen things kind of rebound and slowly kind of regain some ground. And now year over year, we're looking at making history. Things are back. People are excited about it. And now I think that one thing that's interesting that's coming out of the pandemic is just how much people value travel. So
Okay.
even when prices are increasing, there's concerns about tariffs and things like that. It might cost more to buy an item, but people are making memories. They're placing things like that at a very high level right now. So it might cost a little bit more, but we're going to adjust to that just so we can take that trip.
Love it. I mean, everybody obviously associates AAA with cars, but you're monitoring other modes of transportation, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's cars, but for us, we're a travel industry. We have a travel agency. We're selling travel. We're selling vacations around the world. So we're booking people on cruises, on tours, but we're also monitoring what happens with air travel as well. We help people book their air travel. So when you're looking at air travel numbers, they also remain strong right now. We are looking at more air travelers than last year. Nationwide, we're looking at 3.6 million people who are forecast
Whew,
to take a flight. Now, those
crazy.
numbers are a little different than TSA numbers because TSA measures a person every single time they basically step on board an airplane or go through the security checkpoint. And that includes international tourists, people who are traveling for business. Our numbers are focused solely on domestic travel.
Got it. Okay, that's great. Um, and even in Florida, we're going between all of our different airports. I mean, there's a lot of in-state travel in Florida as well. And all right, so we got the air, we got rail, cruises. What?
Yeah, so cruises especially, I mean, they've been extremely popular. They've come roaring back since the pandemic. With new cruise ships out there, similar to what we talked about with Universal. Cruise ships are bigger. They're they're really amazing. If you've stepped on
It's
board any of the
recording.
newest massive cruise ships, and so that's a huge draw too. We cruised on the Disney Wish last year, and that was amazing. But now we're interested in checking out one of the mega ships from Royal Caribbean just to see what that has to offer. So, with new ships coming out every single year, that just brings people back to continue cruising. And we're seeing some really amazing numbers right now. Our travel forecast for cruising, we're expecting a record 19 million Americans to take a cruise this year. And that's, you know, the popular ports right now, of course, Alaska this time of year, but the Caribbean is huge, and the gateway to the Caribbean is right here in Florida. So we're seeing that in Miami, Port Canaveral, Tampa, those ports, they're lining them up, with so many people who are excited about taking a cruise.
Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, there is no question Florida is the tourism capital. I love these numbers. I love hearing about it all. Auto, cruise. I mean, what are people saying about Florida? What do you hear?
Yeah, I mean, people love Florida, of course. They don't necessarily love the hurricanes. If we could just not have the hurricanes, then I think that it would be a much even bigger draw. When you have
We're
the
working on that.
sunshine. What's that?
We're working on getting rid of those.
Yeah, this is going to be the year that we don't have any. It's going to be great. But I mean, that's where people want to go. It's number one on our destination list for bookings from people who book with AAA, and for good reason. I mean, it's great family entertainment. It has something for everybody. You can come down, you can spend a day at the theme parks, then you can shoot over and hit the beach. And then if you want, maybe take a cruise as well.
You're talking about that list, that top 10 list, and
Mhm.
Tampa. You said almost in there. Is that rising? Is Tampa?
Well, it's interesting. It kind of shows up on the list and sometimes it doesn't. So it just maybe depends on the year. I haven't really seen a rhyme or reason about that, why it does land in there and why it doesn't. But I mean, Tampa right on the coastline. I mean, Tampa itself is not the beach, Clearwater,
It, yeah,
and
it's
St.
it's a
Pete,
great
but
city. I'm
still.
just happy to hear that it's getting closer to that top 10. So I like that.
Yeah,
Let's
I
get
would say it's just outside.
let's
Just
get three
outside.
cities in the top 10. I mean, we need to be even more well represented.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm loving these numbers, Mark. So I mean, we've got people ready to travel through Florida. What does AAA have in terms of some tips? Any suggestions? What do people need to know?
Just really be mindful of when you're on the roadway. Remember the fact that you're sharing the road with a lot of people who are Floridians, but you're also sharing the road with people who might be New Yorkers, Californians, people from out of state, maybe even a different country. And a lot of folks don't necessarily know where they're going. They're relying on GPS and they might not be watching where they're going. So you have to make sure you're watching for them. Slow down, make sure you're wearing your seatbelt, never drive impaired, and don't drive distracted. AAA is actually launching right now a new campaign. It's called Crashes Hit Different when they happen to you. And what that means is that with 40,000 traffic fatalities that occur every single year, so many people kind of underestimate the risks involved with driving distracted, impaired, not wearing your seatbelt. These are some of the common reasons or common commonalities associated with traffic fatalities. And you might underestimate it until crashes happen to you. So, just do your best to try to avoid making these numbers personal. If you can, just make sure that you're creating extra space between your vehicle and other vehicles. Be courteous of everybody else and allow yourself extra time to get to where you need to go because when you're in a rush, that's when you oftentimes will take those unnecessary risks while behind the
Oh
wheel.
yeah. Oh yeah. Distracted driving is big. I don't even know if they connected in there, but I've got a 4-year-old daughter myself. That should be definitely in the numbers of just what can distract a driver. A child in the back seat. Boy,
Hey, I'm,
that's
I'm I'm right there with you. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and yeah, it's very demanding. Always asking for stuff, and you have to just kind of like,
right.
hand it
You're
to them
driving,
while still
you're
looking.
working the
Yeah,
back seat. I mean, that's a lot.
it is a lot, but I think that that kind of serves up another reminder is making sure that your child is properly restrained. I can't tell you how many times I'll see kids riding in the front seat, or kids who will tell me, friends of my kids who will say, "I don't need that. I don't sit in a booster seat anymore. I'm too big for that." I'm like, "No, you're not. Seatbelts are designed for adults, and you need to make sure that your kids are in the proper seat because if you're in a car accident and they're in the wrong type of restraint or just unrestrained altogether, then they're not going to be as safe as they could be, and they might not walk away from that crash."
Absolutely. Well, man, it's going to be a wild weekend. We're so glad you could be here for this. I mean, if you're in the tourism industry, get ready. As Mark says, people are on the way to your destination. They're going to be all over Florida. Mark, any final words here? Memorial Day, travel, anything?
Yeah, I think that as we head into the summer travel season, this is going to be an interesting time because, with various policies that are being implemented right now, we're seeing a little bit of softness. And the travel industry, you might be noticing this, that we're having fewer people internationally that are coming into the United States, whether that be Canadians who don't feel quite as confident traveling into the US or what have you. So many hoteliers, travel providers, they're seeing some availability during a summertime that they would not ordinarily see. So I think that what you're probably going to start seeing if you haven't implemented this already, more discounts, more incentives for travelers to visit, and some of that marketing is tailored toward domestic travel. So people here in the United States, and maybe there's a little bit less focus internationally. So we're seeing the incentives, we're seeing the deals. AAA, one of the things that we're doing is offering a virtual travel event so people can go online. They can talk to our travel advisors. They can actually book a trip. And depending on the type of trip, you could save as much as $500 on a qualifying cruise or tour. So
Wow.
we're doing what we can to adjust. I'm sure there are a lot of folks out there who are doing the same.
There you go. And now you get a discount. Call Mark. Call
Yep.
his team and get traveling around there. Hey, man, that's great. Thank you for all those numbers. Get ready for a big weekend of travel. Be safe out on the roads. And remember to celebrate Memorial Day and remember those who we have lost. So, Mark, thanks for joining us. We hope to have you back on Spotlight on Florida on a regular basis.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And
Look forward to it.
we look forward to talking to you some more. That's going to wrap it up. But stay tuned with Spotlight on Florida for more Memorial Day coverage. And yes, that's going to wrap up today's episode of Spotlight on Florida. We thank you for tuning in as we celebrate the achievements and trends shaping our beloved state. Be sure to join us next time for more exciting updates from Florida's tourism industry and follow us on social media to stay up to date throughout the week. For now, I'm Joel Silver in the Spotlight on Florida studios. We'll see you next time.